So it all comes down to Sunday, last game of the season, Tottenham and West Ham in a shootout to avoid relegation. I'm not gonna lie, I'm breaking it. I am really, really worried about this. Tottenham won, Chelsea 2, Stamford Bridge a couple nights ago. Would have been Monday night, so it's Thursday afternoon as I speak. And we weren't terrible, but we weren't great. Like, we were okay. Like, we started the game and we had the possession and we had the control, and Chelsea were just soaking it up. And while they didn't look particularly great or really in it, they didn't look particularly bothered either. They didn't look like they were about to break because we were on top. They looked like they were probably defending comfortably and knew if they just had to bide their time, they'd eventually get back into it. And that's what happened. Enzo Fernandez, I don't exactly remember what minute it was, but sometime middle to late of the first half, just strikes the ball. Kinski kind of screwed up there. He started to go one way and then he went the right way and the ball went in, so just got caught a little flat-footed there. It happens. But it was a good strike, and Chelsea going to the break 1-0 up. And so second half starts, and we just didn't look like in it. Like, we didn't look like, again, we were doing okay, but it just didn't look like there was that like bite that there's been in the past few games under De Zerbi. So, but I was sitting there, one goal. We tie it up. We get the point. We avoid the drop. We're safe going into the last game of the season, and then that game can just be fully focused on protesting and letting the owners and the board know how frustrated the past couple of seasons have been. Because it's either going to be relegation or another 17th place finish. Neither are good enough by any stretch of the imagination. But as second half goes on, Chelsea take a bit more of a foothold in the game, and sure enough, Mawani makes a mistake, which leads to a turnover, which leads to 2-0 Chelsea. And to me, all hope was lost then, especially not, around the same time they flashed across the screen. Scum won the league because Bournemouth beat City, so I was ready just to waterboard myself, to be completely honest. But we got back into it. We made a few subs. We put on Jed Spence, Pat Madisar, and James Maddison. And Madison just kind of changed the flow of the game. We got a bit more to the ball. We got a bit more possession. We sprayed the ball around a bit more, and we looked a bit more lively. And I'm thinking to myself, score by the 75th minute. You're down 2-1. You got 15 minutes plus injury time, which is usually about 5-6 minutes. So 20 minutes combined to get an equalizer, get out there with a point, and you're safe. And we scored about the 73rd, 74th minute. Richarlison. The commentator thought he miskicked it. I thought he probably did it on purpose. Little back heel pass. Richarlison taps it into the empty net, and we're down by a goal, and we're still pushing. We're pushing to get that. We're pushing to get that equalizer. And to be honest, we should have had it. Corner kick, a lot of wrestling in the box. Van der Ven gets taken down. Ref stops the play, gives the yellow card to Cucurella, and I'm thinking, well, that was in the box, like penalty. Like, I'm excited, like I'm about to run around my apartment, my flat here, and they go to retake it, and the commentator quickly explains, well, the ball wasn't in play, or the whistle hadn't blown, or whatever the excuse was. That's why it's just a free kick, right? And it's like, of course, we just can't catch a break. Even when there's a foul, it's like we didn't take it quick enough, which the kick quick enough, which means we can't even get the penalty, right? And obviously the ensuing free kick, nothing happened. When you look at replays after the game and still frames, the ball was played. The ball was in the air when Van der Ven got fouled. And now the PGMOL is ruling, well, it's because the start of the foul occurred before the ball was in play. And you got to go from the start because they were wrestling, and then he got taken down. And it's like, like whether it's the rules or not, or like how it's written in the books, it's like it almost sometimes it just feels like they're making it up as they go along, right? And again, the ref didn't make a call. He let VAR get into his earpiece and say this or that, and it's like, and I don't know if I heard it on commentary or I heard it like afterwards, again, like in a post. I think it was post game analysis. It's like, oh, you know what? Tough decision for the ref. He doesn't want to make a decision that's going to send the team down, because if obviously if Spurs drew, they would have got the point. That would have set us. You know, those are big. It's like, but yeah, but that's their job. That's the reason why they get paid their money. That's the reason why you have VARs, to make these big decisions, right? And it's like, I'm like later on in the match, you had Rory Delap chasing down a ball with Jed Spence. He looks over his shoulder, sees Spence there, and just boom, little elbow to the grill. You know, little 2 minutes for elbowing, surely, right? But no yellow card. Sorry, it was a yellow card. No red card. Clearly dangerous conduct. You can't elbow an opponent in the face. And yeah, it was like the 88th minute or whatever, so it may not have made a huge difference, but like it's another call that just didn't go our way, because the ref doesn't want to make a big decision at an important time. It's like, come on, like that's what makes me really worried about Sunday. And before I get there, like Madison had a chance very late, and I forget which player it was, but the Chelsea defender came back and made a great tackle, right? Clean, it was fair. It's just that split second Madison took longer. Like that split second longer he took was probably an accumulation of all the time he missed. He's just not up to the speed and the flow of the game, because if he had probably a couple more weeks under his belt, he probably would have took that first time and we get the draw, because he was right in on goal. But going to, now we have to look ahead to Sunday. We got Everton at home. West Ham have Leeds at home, and we're 2 points clear. So a draw and we're safe, right? West Ham need to win and hope that we lose. So we are in the driver's seat. We do have the advantage there, but I'm worried for a couple reasons. While Leeds have been really good and West Ham not so much, it's West Ham's last game of the season, home game in front of their crowd. They didn't show much against Newcastle. They showed some fight against Scum, and I think they showed a tiny bit of fight, but not so much against Brentford. If they're going to go down, they're going to go down swinging. And I'm not going to say Leeds is going to be on the beach or roll over, but like, I just don't think they'll show the same kind of fight they've shown the past couple games. It is the last game of the season. But who knows? But like, we can't really worry about that. We got to worry about our own sandbox. And like, we've won 2 games all season at home. Like, there's some quiet confidence in the Spurs fan base. We can get a point here, or we can get at least a point. And it's like, we don't win at home. And the second thing that worries me is we don't get the calls. Like, and I don't think it's a conspiracy. I don't think there's people sliding brown envelopes to the referees before or after the game. I just think it's inconsistency. The refereeing and the VAR have been so inconsistent all season, and we just happen to be one of the teams that have gotten the raw end of the stick. There's a few teams that have gotten the raw end of the stick. There's a few teams that have gotten the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, right? Like, in the end, I guess that it is what it is, right? Like, if a ref makes if there's a game with 2 teams and the ref makes a call and it's dubious, one team's going to benefit, one team's going to be the victim. Like, both teams can't benefit, both teams can't be the victim, right? So, but like, we just don't seem to be getting the calls, and it's like, I don't see how that's going to change this weekend, right? Like, we haven't got a penalty all season, right? Like, there's been plenty of times this season where like red cards we've gotten, other teams have gone away with. Like, Simmons put his studs across the back of the leg of Van Dijk in the game against Liverpool, and in my opinion was rightfully sent off, right? In the game against Burnley, it was Burnley on Monday. Sorry, the game was Tuesday, by the way, not Monday. But in the Scums game against Burnley on Monday, Havertz put his studs through the back of a Burnley player, and to me looked more dangerous, a little bit more intentional. No red card. And again, I don't think it's a conspiracy. I don't think it's, the refs are paid off, or they want the Scum to win the league, or they want Spurs to go down. I just think it's massive inconsistency. Maybe there's some subconscious bias there. On one hand, you can have Spurs going down. Everybody but Spurs fans want to see it happen, and the refs know that, right? It's like, I don't think they're going in saying, "Ha, let's screw Tottenham," but like when there's a bit like, whether they realize or not, there's probably something in their brain that's like they don't want to be the one that ruins everybody's fun and ruins the party for everybody. Let Spurs stay up or go down on their own merits. We're not going to make a call that decides it either way or not. And on the other side of the table, the Scum haven't won the title in 22 years, and they've been consistent, but they faltered a tiny bit near the end of the season, but they've still been getting the points they need. And the narrative has been, can they hold on? Can they hold on? Can they win their first title? That's been what everybody in the media has been saying. And maybe the subconscious or unconscious bias in the refs' minds there is, we see City win every single season. Wouldn't this be a story? After 5 or 6 years, Mikel Arteta finally gets his team over the line, right? Like, I believe that. I believe, like, we all have unconscious bias, right? Like, if I'm talking to a friend and telling him about my frustrations about Spurs not getting the calls, like, subconsciously I'm putting something into his mind saying, that's, maybe he's right? Maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. There's always going to be something, you can always plant some sort of bias in somebody's brain if they hear certain messaging long enough. And the messaging all season has been like, wouldn't it be hilarious if Spurs go down? Wouldn't it be hilarious if Spurs go down? But the fans just got to be on board on Sunday. We got to get everybody in the stadium early. We got to get everybody singing. We got to get everybody chanting. And we can't focus on the board. We got to just focus on the team. I don't know. De Zerbi has wrung out every drop of energy and skill from these players that I think he can, considering all the injuries we have. I mean, I'd still start Maddison on the bench because you need to bring somebody on late in case you need to make a change. But I'd bring him on maybe earlier, maybe bring him on in the 60th, give him 30 minutes. Maybe I'd go with Jed Spence up top as a winger and just keep Mawani on the bench because he was just woeful on Tuesday night, and it's just like one goal in this Premier League season. Like, he was a $90 million player at one point, and he doesn't even look like he could play for the Loyola Hawks now. So frustrating. If he literally has 1 or 2 more goals this season, we're probably safe. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But we need to get those players just playing for 90 minutes, run through a wall for 90 minutes. And the thing I think De Zerbi's got on his in his back pocket is, 1 year ago today, as I speak, May 21st, Spurs won the Europa League. It was one of the best days of my life. Seeing Sonny lift a cup lift a trophy for the team that I love most, the hugging, the celebrating, the fans were crying in the crowds, people in tears. The parade a couple of days after, close to 250,000 Spurs fans on the high road. It was just immaculate scenes. It was amazing, right? Show players scenes from those moments and remind them they had that moment because of you, the majority of you guys. You guys did this. I was catching up on stories from fellow Spurs fans earlier today about, they're at the game they're at the Tottenham Stadium at the watch party with their brother and their dad, and they were on when they won and everybody ran on the pitch and they got a picture with their brother and their dad, one guy was like, him and a couple lifelong friends who've always been Spurs fans went to a pub together, or hearing all these different stories of what that night meant to them and what that moment meant to them, and more importantly, the people they got to share it with. Share those stories with the players. Remind them that was your legacy. You created something that will stick in the mind of these supporters forever. In 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you come back to the lane, you will be welcomed with a standing ovation. Unless Sunday you lose and you go down. Because if we lose and West Ham win, we're down. And if that happens, that legacy is tarnished. This team won't be remembered for the Europa League glory. This team will be remembered as a team that got Tottenham Hotspur relegated, a team that should never even come close to that conversation. Got that team relegated. Their legacy will be tarnished. the fans would want the majority of those players run out of town. The board obviously run out of town regardless. And like De Zerbi needs to remind, and he kind of, in one of the post game press interviews, he said like, this is on them. Like these guys need to take a good long hard look in the mirror and realize that what Tottenham means to people, and like the importance of the club. And yes, he won a trophy last year, but trophies can come and go. Like this could be destiny. This is your legacy. You're screwing with here, and like he's put in some of the omen on the players and the responsibility on the players' shoulders, which I think this is almost his last throw of the dice in terms of wringing out everything he can out of these players. Like he's been super positive up to this point, and now it's like I can't hold their hands anymore. They need to do this on their own, and it's on them. It is on them if their legacy remains as heroes, or their legacy turns to zeros, because they'll have 90 minutes to save their reputation. Me, like I said, I'm worried. Like I think we should be able to squeeze out a draw. Everton haven't been great lately. It's the last game of the season, although a David Moyes team is always hard to break down, and they'll love to spoil the party for us. But like, I think we need to score. If we can score the first goal, I think that the nerves will settle. The fans will get behind the club, and we can like dictate the pace of the game. If we go down early and then we found out that West Ham is up, I worry the players will fold. I just worry the players will fold. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if half those players have already been on phone calls and text messages and emails to their agents for contingency plans to get them to other clubs, because they're not going to want to play in the division below next season. I'm just going to predict it with my heart, not my head here, and just say 2-2, right? 2-2 or 2-1 Spurs, but I'll go 2-2. Richarlison will score. You know what? Screw it. I'll go 2-1. I think Tarkowski's still on Everton, so he'll score for Everton. Richarlison will score for Spurs, and you'll have like Madison score one in like the 78th, 79th minute to make it 2-1, and we'll be able to hold out until the final whistle, and we'll survive. I hope. But like, my mind's gonna be a wreck the next few days. I don't know how I'm gonna handle, like, when I wake up Sunday morning, how that's gonna feel. How it's gonna feel during the 2 hours of the game, and if the worst happens, how it's gonna feel after. Like, it's gonna be brutal. But again, it's on the players. The players have the chance to just put this behind them, and then we can ship off the ones we need to ship off. Keep the ones we know there's something there, something we can sink our teeth into, and just rebuild this team. Rebuild this. It's going to be obviously a slower rebuild, but rebuild this team from the ground up and like reclaim some of that passion and that glory that the fans had before, because this could be an all-time embarrassing low season for us. If we get relegated, the scum have already won the Premier League, and they could win the Champions League a week Saturday. So it's like every Spurs fan is going to put a shotgun in their mouths and pull the goddamn trigger if that happens. But until I get a shotgun and some clean shells to put through the back of my skull, if you guys can like, comment, share, subscribe, criticize, whatever you need to do, let me know what you think how you think the game's going to go. Put down some memories you have of Spurs and Bilbao. Spurs winning in Bilbao a year ago. Were you there? Did you watch it at home? Who did you watch it with? Did you go to the pub? What are your memories of that? Memories of the parade, all the stuff on social and the post and all that stuff that just made you just go into that wormhole. It was amazing, just constantly going down, seeing photos here, videos there, clips here, clips there. It was the best. So if you have any memories of that, drop it in the comments below. Let me know. I'd love to. I'm loving reliving some of these moments, so that'd be great. Until then, guys, have yourself a great night. I gotta make some dinner before bed, and my boy Ninor, you know what you are. I'm not gonna say it, but you get the queef of the week, because you guys got it. So fair enough, bud. Take care.